All right, what's going on, everybody? Today's going to be a little bit of a different one. Today with Zach, we're just going to be kind of just riffing, I guess, on stuff that we've been thinking about with health and fitness recently, or maybe even things that we struggle with. So it's going to be kind of more relaxed, kind of more just, chill conversation, I suppose.
Yeah, just talking about what we think is a good way to get started and get prepared even for 2024.
That's
And
a
I
good
was
one.
thinking, yeah, I was thinking probably a good way to do that is just start by talking about maybe what we have planned for ourselves for the year. I don't know if you have been thinking much about it. I've been thinking a little bit. Um, so if you want, I can just go into it and start talking about kind of what 2024 is shaping up to be for me.
Yeah, if you want to. Mine's mine's pretty not chill in a way, but it's a lot easier than what some people try to set themselves up for. But you go on ahead, and I'll go on mine in a minute.
Yeah, so for me, I'll start by saying like heading into the new year, I've really tried to get my mindset in a good place. Like, okay, this is going to be a year full of action. You know, 2023 had a lot of action in it for me. So like 2022 was like a maybe like a more of a thinking year, more of a processing year. And I started to get this momentum going in 2023. And now it's like, all right, I'm gonna go into the new year with this energy, and I'm really gonna try to apply it and take it to another level. And that goes for business, for fitness, for nutrition. Like I want to make sure that honestly, I'm getting more color in my diet. I've already started to make an effort on that, just trying to get more veggies in there, different fruits. I'm an apple guy. I have an apple like every day.
Ooh,
Yeah, so
what's your
good.
favorite apple?
Cosmic Crisp.
Oh, okay.
It's the best apple. And there's not even really an argument to be made. It is actually
I
the
think
best.
I think Honeycrisp and Opal. I think those are the two best ones.
Honey Crisp is good. Honey Crisp is good.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I did a lot of calisthenics this past year for my fitness. Um, I'm gonna get back into kettlebells just to keep it fresh. It's another modality or another tool that I like using for fitness. And then as far as business goes, I just want to be consistent. That's the big thing, consistent. How about you?
I like it. Those are pretty simple. Um, so my New Year structure is kind of always pretty similar. Um, Kind of about Thanksgiving or so through the rest of the year, I'm kind of laxed on my diet. Uh, and then I still definitely go to the gym, but I'm not like pushing at all. I'm just maintaining, just kind of like the holidays season. I kind of use it as my time to kind of decompress when it comes from my structure and stuff like that. Um, but when January rolls around, usually the first thing I try to do is I start dialing in my sugar intake, and getting my water intake back up to like two or three of my water bottles, so like closer to 100 plus ounces of water, just like straight clean water. Because I drink like uh kombucha and like sparkling water or like stuff like that right now, but um it's not like I'm like just drinking soda all day. I'm still drinking primarily like water stuff, but I just kind of get back on track with like the sugar, the water, getting a good healthy breakfast in the morning. My go-to one is uh two hard-boiled eggs, a beef stick, and a cheese stick. Um, like when I can't cook anyways, that's what I always take to work. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I haven't really added it up, but I'm pretty sure it's almost 30 grams of protein right there, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Uh, but anyways, the breakfast, the sugars, the water, and then maybe I don't like to overwhelm myself with too much at one time if I can help it, if I have my choice. So usually around March or so, after about 2 or 3 months of kind of getting my diet and my sleep and all that stuff reined back in, I kind of start maybe looking to try a new modality in the gym or something like that.
Mm.
Um, I think I'm actually gonna chase some calisthenic goals this year. Because
Yeah.
it won't be totally brand new to my body since, like, I mean, I'm sure you can relate with doing sports in high school. You kind
Mm.
of like the first set or two is a little weird, then you start doing, you're like, oh yeah, I remember this, and like your body's like going through it like you've been doing it every day kind of thing. But I'm really interested to see, how that's gonna go. But um, I definitely think that, it all depends upon your goals, and especially with having a kid on the way in February, I'm
Mm.
kind of more of like working on my letting go of my control of my structure, because with a kid around, it's not gonna, it's gonna go out the window for the most part. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'd say you're probably about as set up as anybody to be able to handle the time stresses of having a kid with the knowledge that you have about fitness and nutrition and time management and all of those things. So hopefully you're looking at that period as like something that can be managed well. I know a lot of people get
Hmm.
scared having a kid. I mean, I haven't had one of my own yet, but my brother has two. And it's just like every time I talk to him, he's like, dude, I don't have time. I just don't have time. I can't sleep and I don't have time. But,
Yeah.
a lot of times what that really just comes down to, as you know, is structure.
Hmm.
There's these like pockets of time in our day that are not structured and it just feels like that time goes by really quickly and it slips away, but you can fit something productive in there. But even if it's just like a 10 to 15-minute workout, well, there you go. You just did a workout.
Hmm.
But I'm glad you brought up Thanksgiving and like kind of the diet changing around this time. I did want to address just the thing that actually helped me this Thanksgiving. So for anybody who's going to see this in the lead up to Christmas and New Year's, when there's again lots of food, lots of indulgent food. The way I kind of structured my plate at Thanksgiving, and I didn't even really do it on purpose. It's just like lifestyle changes end up being reflected on the plate. But I obviously prioritize protein on my plate. I could like
Hmm.
I just looked down. I was like, oh, there's a lot of turkey. I didn't even mean to. But there's a lot of turkey there.
Yeah.
So it seemed like everything else, all the more unhealthy things, were accessories to the protein on my plate, which helped me honestly not overeat either because I felt more satiated. And you know, being anybody who works out, obviously that protein is going to be super important. So anybody who's wondering about heading into the holidays and just trying to manage that, I would say think protein first when it comes to your plate. What do you feel about that?
Oh yeah. A lot of my mindset is like, this is why you want to win the rest of the, or like the whole other part of the year besides these 2.5 months. Is so
Mm.
that way, sure, you want to prioritize protein on your plate, but if you also want to get a second or third helping of dessert, you can afford to do it, a half dozen
Mhm.
times in this couple months. If the rest of the year you're having dessert maybe once a week at most, and you're very disciplined about that. Uh, I think Yeah, I think I mean, the protein one I think is probably one of the easiest ones. That, and probably, you know, like a 10 to 15 minute walk an hour or so before, and then
Mm.
like, another 10 to 20, maybe 30-minute walk, after the meal. I think those are two suggestions that are really easy to apply. You just go on a walk with the family, or, even if it's by yourself, just throw a headphone in and go walk around the block a couple times. Uh and then choosing the protein on the plate. I mean, if you're someone that enjoys eating meat, usually it's one of the more tasty things on the plate if it's done, well. So you're still getting something good. And uh I would also say, unless you have a problem with like you're trying to lose body fat and it's hard to get off, don't make the healthy food harder to eat by getting super lean meat. Like I
Mhm.
always eat 80-20 ground beef and chicken thighs. I don't eat chicken breasts. I don't do the, the 92-8 or whatever beef. It's like, it's already hard, and there's, from my understanding, there's already been, a lot of studies that have came out recently talking about how healthy animal fats are for you. So,
Yeah.
um, you know, get that fatty piece, that looks good.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought up just kind of like not being too restrictive with yourself. I
Hmm.
saw a video that Andrew Garrettson did. He's like the education guy at NCI. He does
Hmm.
like the videos and the modules and stuff. Well, he did a reel recently where he I think he referenced a study, but I'm just going to reference him because he was talking. He said what you gain mentally and emotionally from that day or that couple of days, just letting yourself live, being present with family and friends, enjoying good food, far outweighs what you may lose physically,
Hmm.
which is just a step. Like you're not ruining all of your progress. Some
No.
people will actually feel like that. They're like, if I let loose on Thanksgiving or Christmas, I've just lost everything that I worked for. But in reality, all you did was really you lose one day, which is a drop in a bucket of all the days that you've been working and all the days
Hmm.
you've been living, and so it's it's so important that when we're on this journey of trying to better ourselves physically, that we do not forget the mental aspect of it and how that can really be the make or break aspect of the whole journey is how we feel and how we feel
Hmm.
the whole thing.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Like whenever I have my cheat meals, like once a week or whatever, twice a week maybe sometimes, during the rest of the year, um, I'm not even like doing it to like eat some food that I know is bad for me. I'm doing it for the mental part of it actually, of like, oh, this is just some food that I think tastes really yummy. Usually pizza. Usually it's 5 slices of pizza.
Mhm.
But I just think, like, I was talking to a couple of older customers at my store today about this, and I think a lot of people discredit how much stress plays a factor into your health. And
Yeah.
so like working out is great, having a job that fulfills you and is high moving or whatever, like is always kind of keeping you busy is great, all these things, but if you don't put that same effort into taking that load off. And I think another thing that people struggle with, especially people that are high achievers and go 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 go, they forget what it's like to idle and just be like a very calm. I like when they're sitting there, their mind's still thinking about, they can't genuinely turn it off no matter how hard they try. And so I think it's kind of like, it's also a good practice of, like, something I struggled with a lot was kind of like what I said earlier, was like control, like feeling like, oh, I have to leave by this certain time because I have to be to bed by this time. And it's like, dude, you're one or two nights a week of crappy sleep is not going to be that bad. Just spend time with your friends or spend time with your family. And then the rest, that 95% of the rest of the time, get good sleep and you're gonna be ace in it, you know what I mean? Kind of thing. So that's the angle I always kind of try to take with a lot of things.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really glad that you mentioned the the mind just like never ending. I feel like I struggled with that for so long. And the one thing I feel that helped break me out of that was actually meditation.
Hmm.
Um, and there's a misconception about meditation, at least in like a large part, because I feel like people always think meditation is just like you're clearing your mind, you're clearing your mind, you're clearing your mind. But really, the mind is never technically clear of thought. At least I don't
Hmm.
believe. There's always something in there. Like you're not like you can't actually turn your brain off. It's going to be going.
Hmm.
And so what I found was so helpful with meditation is that you're letting it pass. You're letting the thought just like pass through. It's almost like you're perceiving the thought. It's like a car just like slowly driving by on the road, and then it's gone. It disappears over the horizon. And then the
Hmm.
next one comes, and you're like, oh, there's another thought, and then another. But the important thing is that like you don't latch onto it, because I feel like it's when we start to latch onto these thoughts is when the feelings that are, say, attached to them start to take over, and then we start to get anxious and we start to like overthink about it instead of just saying like, yeah, okay, no, I see that. I see that as well. It just passes by. That was so important for me. And I went from honestly a pretty anxious person to somebody who's more or less like laid back these days.
Yeah. I mean, that's big, I think a lot of people struggle with the whole idea of just sitting still,
Mm.
like it's a hard concept. Um, I mean, I know that I have a struggle with that, and my regression or yeah, my regression from meditation, I think, is reading a book. It's like a step in the right direction. You're purposefully taking time to just be absent-minded in a way and just enjoy this story and not have to be entertained by technology.
Mm.
Um, so I think that that's a good starting place for people if they think that meditation sounds overwhelming. Is
Yeah,
just pick up a book.
yeah, I do that every now and again. I'd say that my main regression, but I wouldn't call it a regression necessarily, more like a progression, is prayer. Like my meditation now is prayer.
Hmm.
It's just setting your mind upon something, you know,
Yeah.
uh, and not feeling like this thing that your mind is set upon is taking over you necessarily. Like so, like whether it's a thought or it's a prayer to God or if it's a book, you kind of just like let go of yourself a little ultimately.
Hmm.
And you're not like controlling the thought. You're not controlling your relationship with God. You're not controlling the narrative in the book. You're just kind of there, like you're along for the ride, more or less.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. Uh, and I mean, even to take it a step further, finding some good deep emotional music could kind of
Mm.
do that too. That could be another small step in that direction of doing that, like just putting your headphones on with the music or playing it over the speaker and then just sitting in a chair and then closing your eyes and just allowing the music to paint the picture in your head for you. I know that's something that I love, and that's even when I've had troubles of physically praying, that was something that always made me feel like I could connect. Was
Mm.
that things would hit me in a song and it would be like legitimately emotional. Like I wouldn't like necessarily break down and cry, but like I could feel that welling up of emotion inside of me whenever some of these things, are said or a certain kind of song with a certain message is coming on, because it can be a different message that one day it can mean one thing and the other day it could be the other thing, which I think is cool about that. I mean, the same thing with like scripture is that the advice given and it could mean one thing for you one day and then a year or two later it could be the exact same advice that could lead you in another direction and help you with something different that you never even anticipated.
Yeah, even crazier than that to me is there's been so many times where I read a passage and it didn't mean anything to me.
Yep.
And then I came back to it later and it suddenly meant everything to me. Like
Hmm.
it'd be like, I read this passage so many times and it never struck me. And then all of a sudden one day, it's like God grants you this blessing of insight in this moment. And you're like, whoa, whoa, how does like this applies to not just me, but like the world around me, the perception
Hmm.
that I have. And it's a really incredible thing. Um, I know that we're a little short on time today. So, did you have any thoughts about how people could kind of start their year on the right foot? Like, what are
um
any practical things that you feel like a person could do?
you said three.
Not any amount. Like,
Oh, start incorporating like a 5 or 10 minute stretching routine in your day if you don't already. Um, that's
That's great.
that's one that can just make a big difference. If you're not a water drinker, get a water bottle. It just you're like physically more responsible for more water than you would if you just kind of poured a glass. I know that helps me drink water a lot when I have my water bottle. Um, and if you're someone that hasn't really lifted in a while or never really lifted consistently, don't just go in the gym, run 8 miles, and try to do a bunch of lifts and beat the crap out of yourself. Um, Step into the gym with a thought of, I'm here to take care of myself, not I'm here to beat up on myself. Um, much like church and a lot of other places that kind of share the same similar setting, you'll have people in there that are boasting in what they have that can make you feel bad. Um, when in reality, the place is a place for people to go to be in a community, to take care of themselves, and to also have, you know, the support of just people with the same like-mindedness. Um, but I know with social media and the people that are in there for some of the wrong reasons can make it harder to want to get started the right way.
Mm-hmm.
But I would encourage everybody to really go about it in a therapeutic fashion, no matter how air quote off the rails you've been this holiday season, or maybe just all the time you feel like you're not where you need to be. Don't go 0 to 100. Start with one step at a time.
Yeah, I like that. The gym can be a really intimidating place for somebody who's not had experience in that setting. And so to piggyback on what you're saying about that, a good practice to me, if you're thinking about joining a gym, shop around. You can get like a free weekend. At the very minimum, a gym, I would say almost all of them are going to give you a free pass for like a day, right? You could easily just go to any gym and say like, "Hey, can I work out here for the day?" And they'll give you a free pass. And just check out the vibe of the gym, check out the people that are there, um, because ultimately, what it could become is a community of healing. And so you have to really make sure that whatever place you choose is a place that you want to be. Like if you're more of a Planet Fitness type of person and you end up signing up at a gym that's like the bodybuilder dungeon, well, you're probably not going to want to go there. Like these massive men grunting and screaming and slamming weights. Maybe you want something a little slower pace, something a little more therapeutic to you. Not to say that those guys aren't also getting some form of therapy from what they're doing, but just shop around, see what's out there, see what fits your personality and your goals.
I like it.
And drink enough water and get enough sleep.
Yeah. Can't underestimate those. Those are always big factors.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much with you. I like the stretching routine, the water bottle, and joining a community of like minded individuals who are all there to better themselves.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I mean, I guarantee you every struggle you're having, everybody, no matter their fitness level in that gym, they're having the same struggles, just in a different perspective. So
Mm-hmm.
go there and feel empowered by seeing a lot of people. Don't get intimidated. Feel like, oh, these are all people trying to get better too. I'm gonna join them. So
Yeah. Yep. There's
yeah,
nobody there that's like truly better than you. At least if they're there for the right reasons, they're going to basically see you as the same as them. You're there to challenge yourself and to get better. That's it.
yeah. That's the beauty of the gym.
Truly. All
All
right,
right,
man.
man.
Do you have anything else?
No, I think we gave a lot of good information to send them off with. I mean, maybe we'll be able to hit one more before the end of the year. If not, this will be taking a step into 2024 guide, I suppose, or something like that, something to give you some good information going forward with that. So, um, something that we're gonna make sure we do every video now, we're gonna have some stuff in the description. It's gonna be able to give you a way to, link to us. It has our socials, has our Calendly link, so you can schedule a 30-minute free call with us. That's a no strings attached call. Um, and to clarify, that call would be, about like coaching services or something like that. If you have any questions, you can just leave them in the comments or, directly message us on social media and we can guide you that way. I wouldn't try to set up a Calendly link just for one or two questions. Just hit us up in the DMs. But do you have anything to add to that, Zach?
No, if you do end up scheduling a call, we'll get it on our end. And for me, I like to promise people that I'm going to give them a full assessment of where they're at and some really basic steps on how to start moving in that right direction. So
Oh yeah.
regardless of whether or not they choose to work with me, they can at least be reassured that they're going to leave with some amount of knowledge on how to get where they want to go.
Yeah. No, I like that. Yeah, I forget to mention that because just naturally that's just what ends up happening.
Right.
Because even though it would technically be an assessment call, I don't really think of it much different than the other ones. In a way, like my intentions are still the same, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Well, that's it. That's all I got.
me too, man. All right. Well, until next time, we'll see you.
See everybody.